Right now, we're going to talk about NXT Take Over the End. Go ahead, Shane, take us into this.
Alrighty, so the first part that we can talk about would be the name of the network special, pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. Every NXT TakeOver they have has a specific name to it. NXT TakeOver Dallas, TakeOver Brooklyn, and this one they decided to call TakeOver The End. And that started a lot of rumors about this is going to be it. With the brand split of Raw and SmackDown, NXT may not continue to go the same route that it is. Maybe it's actually going to go to a developmental territory like it originally was supposed to be. So it was a really interesting name.
Yeah, I think it ties in more to the fact that this was supposed to be the end of the feud between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe.
Right. Which that also brings to more rumors that have been circulating for a really long time about Finn Balor joining the Bullet Club, or now referred to as the Club. And so I guess maybe this will finally happen. This is the end of the feud with Samoa Joe, and now he's transitioning to the main roster. Hopefully, maybe we'll see him at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, and then we'll get a legit Bullet Club.
I guess some of like the Ticketmasters and stuff like that, they were originally on there, and then they pulled them off. The NXT, the next takeover that's going on during SummerSlam. And they were on there and they took it off, and that's what started some of this rumor right here. One is called The End, and everybody's like, why is it called The End?
Right.
And then they got pulled off the Ticketmaster, and everybody's like, oh crap, they're pulling them off. That's the end. That's the end. And roll credits. And then people were really worried about that, but I guess it was just a graphics change. That's what I read. It was a graphics change.
I didn't hear about that.
And so they adjusted what they wanted the picture to look like. So and then now it's back on there. So some of this worry is gone, but I think Finn Balor definitely is going to be probably brought up to the main roster.
Yeah. Well, especially we have the brand split in July, so I'm assuming they have to pull him up. What would be really interesting is if they leave Samoa Joe down in NXT. For a long time, I kind of viewed it also as a stepping stone. You need to get these people to the main roster. Now, even when Finn Balor first became champion, I actually just kind of looked at it as its own show. And yeah, eventually they'll transition to the main roster, but I wouldn't mind if Finn Balor stayed down there, Samoa Joe stayed down there. I would like to see Finn Balor join the Bullet Club, especially because he started it in New Japan. But other than that, I kind of like it just being its own identity, its own entity.
Yeah, it feels realistic down there.
Right.
It feels like its own show. It's such a different atmosphere.
It is. Yeah, more hardcore fans, which a lot of times, they can really make a match, and that's what I really enjoy about it. There's only a few matches that I want to talk about. The first being the Nakamura and Austin Aries. With Nakamura, in New Japan, I liked him. He stood out, but kind of in a weird way. I mean, he's kind of had the similar entrance, and you definitely knew, like, okay, it's hard for me to remember Japanese names, but I can remember Shinsuke Nakamura, no problem, and I could, even watching New Japan, because of how much he stood out. And now, fitting into the WWE world, he fits perfectly. I also like that he kind of took his own style to NXT, in that he still keeps his moniker of the King of Strong style. Yep, and he uses that in matches. His matches look brutal. They look stiff. His match with Sami Zayn, they look like they were beating the crap out of each other. In the match with Austin Aries, they look like they were beating the crap out of each other. I really enjoyed the match. The part that I thought was interesting is Austin Aries took control of the majority of that match. He was on top, and Nakamura, was kind of fighting from underneath, which most of Nakamura's matches, especially in WWE, haven't been that way. So I thought that was a really different approach, where Austin Aries was kind of controlling the majority of the tempo, and then until the end, Nakamura was the one who hit his finish and then got the pin 1, 2, 3. So I thought it was an entertaining for me to see it that way, because it was unexpected. I was expecting kind of a back and forth, or Nakamura taking most of the control, and Austin Aries fighting from underneath. Maybe we'll see Austin Aries as a heel. I don't know. I wouldn't mind that. He started playing up to the crowd, kind of Rocky-esque. Like, wait, why are you still cheering for this guy? I'm kicking the crap out of him.
Right.
So I thought they did a really good job with that match.
It was so great. I fell asleep. Long day. I missed it. I had a long day at work. The recliner was out. Unfortunately, during that match, I fell asleep.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, it's on WWE Network. You can go back to it anytime.
$9.99.
Plug. So the other match that I wanted to talk about, I actually think came before the Nakamura match, was the tag team title match, and I have a lot of gripes about the tag team division in Ring of Honor, New Japan, even in the main roster, which is finally starting to get built up. But the tag team title match, to me, was a great example of what tag team wrestling should be to me. I still enjoy the old school aspect of building up to the hot tag. I think they do a great job with that, because it doesn't necessarily mean the other team, in this case the Revival, they're not jobbers who are going to lose right away once the hot tag happens. There's more that usually comes after it, but they build up to that really well.
Yeah, they did really good. They did a good job in that one. Everything was about the guy trying to get the tag, the hot tag. Mm-hmm. Everything was a counter to him trying to get the hot tag. Exactly. Spine busters and why he's trying to get the hot tag. And they're just dragging him out. They're beating him down. It was great. It was good old school manipulation of the system. Yeah. Where they're just beating one guy down so much, and that hot tag came in. People were cheering for the other guy to come in, and finally when the hot dog hit, it was a good match.
Yeah, exactly. And the Revival, I'm not their biggest fan. They're just kind of there. Now they're 2-time tag team champions, which I thought was really interesting. I didn't expect that to happen, especially because American Alpha was kind of on such a roll, and they finally get the belts. There's an emotional tie to it now. They had all these post-match interviews and stuff where there was so much emotion that they felt they finally made it, and then they completely squash it.
Right.
And so I wasn't sure if, like, okay, are they going to build this into something bigger? So, I guess only time will tell. But the Revival, they are great at cutting off the ring. I love how creative they get with that. They also, going back to old school mentality, they manipulate the referee really well, so that they can cut the ring off. And I love that. And that is such to me, I can watch that over and over again, as opposed to a spot fest, that you see in other organizations, and even in WWE. I'm not a huge fan of the Usos, because it just seems like, okay, here's my 5, 6, 10 spots, and then and then we'll figure out the finish. Right. And it doesn't mean anything. I'm way prefer the old school type of wrestling match in tag teams. So the last match, obviously the final match that wanted to talk about is the cage match between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. As we talked about, we feel that this is the reason why the special was named the way it was, and that this would be the end of the feud, which to me, it's been a great feud leading up to this point. These matches are all brutal matches, and I was definitely more entertained by this, as much as I'm a Dean Ambrose fan and I love Chris Jericho as a heel. But they had all these weapons, Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose did, in their
Asylum match.
Thank you. Their Asylum match. And I was more entertained by this style cage match, because it was just a train wreck of just physicality, I guess, that they put into this Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. And the ending was crazy. I was really surprised that move had injured Tyson Kidd, and so I was surprised when he continued to still use it. Yeah. And even to have him do it off the top turnbuckle, I was really surprised with. But there's no better way to end the feud and to end that match than the way that happened. A pinfall, I like those in a cage match, as opposed to crawling out the door or crawling over. It depends on how it's done, but there's so much random built up anticipation with when someone tries to go over the top. And sometimes you're even not sure, like, I wasn't sure if Finn Balor was going to jump off the top of the cage, or if he was actually trying to get out.
Yeah, that's what all those fans were trying to goad him to do.
Yeah, right.
Go up, go up, go up. They wanted him to go up. They wanted him to do the coup de grace from the top of the cage, which would have just screwed everybody in that situation. Yeah,
Samoa Joe getting landed on. Finn Balor's knees probably would have buckled.
His whole thing would have freaking broken.
Yeah.
There's no way. Yeah, to me about that match was there was actually a lot of pins for a cage match. Yeah. There was a lot of pins. Yeah. They were trying to pin each other. And I think there was only maybe 1 or 2 attempts really of trying to get out of the cage to the
Mm-hmm.
top.
Yeah.
And I think maybe 1 attempt to go through the door.
I remember one through the door specifically.
It was Finn Balor trying to get through.
Actually, okay, so maybe twice. I remember Samoa Joe, and the reason why I remember it specifically is because the way that they were positioned, Samoa Joe just hit Finn Balor with some move. Finn Balor was laid down. Samoa Joe's back is to the door, and I was kind of disappointed at first because I'm like, okay, this would be a perfect opportunity for him to go to the door, and he pauses, turns around, and starts going to the door. I'm like, sweet, okay.
Yeah.
So he's actually trying to win the match, and then as it started to progress, he was more of like, no, you know what? I'm gonna beat the crap out of you inside the ring, and then he starts going for pins. It was done really well.
Yeah, the lead up to the end where Finn Balor was over the top of the cage.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only time he was over the top of the cage.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have these stupid fights where they're on top of the cage.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like, just fall. But no, Joe's holding on to every limb he can to keep him in. It looked realistic. It looked like he was actually trying to keep him in.
Yeah.
And it looked like Balor was actually trying to get out. But then he hits him and he falls in a good position just to do that muscle buster.
Yeah.
And that was a hardcore move from the top. And
it made me wonder if they were playing, because Finn Balor stayed down the whole time, and then even some of the refs and stuff came out after the match as they're raising up the cage. And I'm not. That's what I love about pro wrestling is when you're not quite sure. Not that I want Finn Balor to be injured, but I love that they played that up. Is he injured? He just went through a crazy match, and Samoa Joe was still playing it off as, no, am I done with him yet? And the refs had to, kind of push him away.
Well, let's go into the next WWE pay-per-view, which is Money in the Bank. We got our Money in the Bank predictions for the matches.
We'll start with Rusev and Titus O'Neil. This whole match, I feel we're getting into repeating the history way too closely because we just recently had Rusev 2 years ago go through all these people as a United States champion, and that Titus O'Neil isn't going to win, and they build him up of like, oh, American pride and all this stuff. They did it with Jack Swagger. They did it with what's his name from the New Day, Big E. Before joining the New Day. They do it, and now we're just kind of in a repetitiveness, which I don't mind the booking. I want something a little bit more creative and a different opponent.
It's like, okay, we started him out well last time, but then we screwed him by having him go against John Cena.
Right. Yeah.
All right, let's restart this all over again.
Yeah.
So let's give him a couple, not necessarily squash matches, but let's give him some matches where he looks dominant. Beat the hell out of Sin Cara.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Kick the crap out of him. So now let's make him look dominant again.
Right.
So
and
now
that was actually Kalisto. But yeah, they look the same. And that's not a racial joke. They have the same attire.
Yeah,
right?
they look the same.
Yeah, but with Titus O'Neil, I don't know. I like the way that he looks. I always feel that he could have been booked a little bit better, and now we're just kind of leading into a random match, so it'll be interesting.
It's a match to make Rusev look strong.
Yep, exactly.
Rusev crush.
Yep, against a big dude.
Yep.
So the next match is the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match with New Day, Enzo and Cass, the Vaudevillains, and the Club. I don't know if they've talked about the stipulation as far as, is it going to be a 4 corners match? Is it going to be like tornado style? I'm assuming it's not tornado style. That would be insane. It'll get to that point, I'm sure, at some point. But to me, this match, just right off the bat, shows that they're finally starting to build up the tag team division. You don't have random tag teams carrying
Truth
the belt.
and gold.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you do have random tag teams, but they're not in this
Winning.
match. Yeah, exactly. And the New Day has carried the tag belts for a while now. So I'm excited to see how it goes. And especially, we had the last time Enzo and Cass were facing the Vaudevillains, Enzo got injured. I was curious how that match was going to end. And now this will be telling as far as, is the New Day going to continue to carry the belts? Are they going to start a feud? Someone else going to win? We have the Club in there now, which is a pretty legitimate tag team that could just surprise everyone, walk away with the belts. They could start a feud with the New Day. They kind of already have a little bit. So
yeah, they've been beating the crap out of them.
Yeah,
the New Day doesn't really need the titles anymore to be over.
No.
I have a feeling that someone's going to get the titles here pretty soon, and it's probably either going to be the Club or Enzo and Cass.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to, if they wanted to give it to the Vaudevillains, they would have given it to them last pay-per-view.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think they were just kind of a filler.
Yeah, that was definitely a filler match. So it's either going to be Enzo and Cass or the Club. The way they're doing this lately with the Club, I have a feeling they're going to definitely be dominant in this match.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be beating a lot of people. They might beat New Day right off the bat.
Right.
And crush the crap out of them, smash them, and then it's probably going to be down, I would assume. I'd actually almost go down. It's going to be between the Club and Enzo and Cass.
That would be really smart booking, I think, because then it's kind of up in the air of like, okay, who's going to walk away with the belts here? And Enzo and Cass never won the NXT titles. I thought they were going to win the tag team tournament that they had, and then go on to face the New Day and possibly win the tag belts. Enzo got injured. That didn't end up happening, so maybe this is their opportunity.
Yeah, I don't think the New Day gets hurt by losing this. They'll still stay over. They'll still be the crew, the comedy crew that they want them to be. But you need to put the belts on somebody that's going to probably wrestle a little bit more and not be the comedic relief.
Yeah.
And so I have a feeling they're going to go to the Club on this
one.
If they want to keep this momentum going of them just beating the crap out of everybody, you got to put the titles on them and just have them start plowing through the division.
Right.
Now that you got a little bit depth to your division, start beating the crap out of everybody.
And they're starting to look like a modern day Outsiders a little bit. And so that was the best way to kind of say, hey, we're on top. And to give the belts to them. I hope it's Enzo and Cass. I'm a big mark for those two, but I could see it going to the Club too.
I could see a lot of different ways too. Giving them the titles, so when the brand split happens, I think they're going to do this shared area where the titles or the champions are going to be able to go to both shows.
I hope they do that.
And then I could just see them, if John Cena, probably because John Cena's not going to have a title, if they can go to both shows and whatever show John Cena's on, they're just going to screw him after every match, just to screw with him.
Right.
I think that'd be great. Just like you said, the Outsiders.
Yeah.
Just screw with him the whole time. Just mess up every one of his matches. He doesn't know if these guys are going to come out of nowhere to beat him up. I think that would be awesome if they just had them able to go between both shows and just wrestle for their show and then screw Cena on the next show.
Yeah.
That'd get those guys way awesome. Over.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The next one, kind of a good transition, is Styles and John Cena. This, I'm hoping that Styles actually gets a win, but I don't know if it would discredit Kevin Owens, for him coming in and beating John Cena first pay-per-view. But if you look at the way that AJ Styles is super over at this point, but he lost to Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. He obviously didn't win the Royal Rumble. He lost to Roman Reigns twice now.
Yep.
So at some point, come on. He's supposed to be leading this faction of the Club, and they're doing a pretty good job at booking him. I loved the back and forth he had with Cena on Raw, where he essentially made it seem like, okay, I'm going to go against the two other guys from the Club, and I'm not on their side. And then boom, he knocked Cena, and he kept going back. Yeah. I thought that was so awesome, so well done. Yeah. So I think this will be an entertaining match.
Yeah, if they're smart, hopefully they're smart. AJ's got to win.
Yeah.
The Cena's already established. He's at this point, he's the guy to put people over.
Yeah.
And he needs to lose this one, and put AJ over, help out the establishment, and then let Cena, like I was saying earlier, let Cena kind of go out on his own venture. Okay, maybe he wants to go for the World Championship. Mm-hmm. He challenges Rollins or Reigns, whoever's going to win out of that, just on a Raw. And the Club comes down and screws him.
Right.
And then, okay, maybe he's going to move on, go to the U.S. title, and try to get it back from Rusev. The Club comes down and screws him again. Just build up this feud, build up this anguish between the two teams, build up this anger between Cena and the Club. Make it an actual feud for once, and not just a pay-per-view feud. Yeah.
Well, and they've actually started off really well when you had Cena basically calling out AJ Styles, like, we finally get this opportunity. Everyone's been wanting to see AJ Styles versus John Cena, but it's not. It's John Cena versus the Club. And AJ Styles comes right out and says, well, everyone knows that you bury guys like me. And these two are my insurance policy to make sure that doesn't happen. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, that's so well done. They call it out there completely. And then he also talks about everyone knows that you're great on the mic, but you're an embarrassment to me in the ring. I'll wrestle circles around you. I'm like, man, I'm so glued into this feud. And I wouldn't mind if it carried all the way through SummerSlam, but they actually just have to let AJ Styles
win.
Yeah, at least a couple times. Like, and if this is what you're trying to do is push him as a heel or whatever, as a popular hero like the NWO, then he needs to win. You have to, unfortunately, if he wins 3 out of 3 against John Cena, I think that's smart.
Yeah, hopefully they don't do the 50-50 booking where AJ may win this first one, but then the next one, whenever it comes to the SummerSlam pay-per-view, a real pay-per-view, the big time, that's when John Cena
Right.
wins.
Yeah,
and then John
exactly.
Cena's going to win from there. Like, he gives him that one win like he did against Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
But then never lets him win
Yeah.
after that.
I hope they don't do that, especially with AJ Styles' quote-unquote insurance policy. He needs to win multiple out of, if they do 3.
Diesel's coming back?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I just think that's how the booking should go. It should be interesting to see. Then we have the Money in the Bank match with Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens, and Alberto Del Rio. Now, for me, the interesting thing on this match is I'm kind of unsure of how they're gonna go with it. I'm unsure of who's gonna win. I don't think it's gonna be Del Rio. I don't think it's gonna be Chris Jericho. Yeah, Del Rio has won it already. It's obviously Chris Jericho's he's there to put other guys over, make them look good, have good matches, have good feuds. But I'm interested to see if, I think it could go with Sami Zayn. It could be Kevin Owens. This could be his opportunity to go for the heavyweight title, or maybe they'll actually listen to the fans and push Dean Ambrose a little bit, and give it to him. So I think it can go anyways. And then actually I forgot about Cesaro. I actually thought Cesaro might have been a good kind of underdog surprise winner in that match. So I'm interested to see how it goes. I can't really pick a winner out of that one, but I do like all of the guys in this match. I think it's going to be a great match.
The one that makes sense to me is Dean Ambrose. Right now, you're going to have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins going for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Then you throw in the other Shield guy with the Money in the Bank. It's pretty obvious. It seems obvious to me that Dean Ambrose is going to win. That way, you have this old Shield reunion, and then whoever wins the title, you're going to have Dean Ambrose in the background with the Money in the Bank. Could he win? It's going to be just bouncing around between all the Shield members.
I can see that.
I can see that. And, I mean, there's a chance my secondary guy would be Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
You keep him with the belt, but he can still go after the Intercontinental title like he wants. But he's always got this suitcase with him just in case they want to give that guy the push, because that's the guy you'd give the title to.
Yeah. Which I think that's coming down the road. I just don't know if it's now. And they haven't really touched a whole lot. Well, I shouldn't say touched on. They haven't actually fully gone into the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn feud. They actually haven't really wrestled, other than
Extreme Rules, he beat him clean in the ring.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So they pretty much summarized that one right up.
Yeah, but they're still kind of feuding.
Yeah, it's because I think it's just because they need a feud.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
He could still have the feud even with the Money in the Bank thing.
Right.
He could even do a stupid stipulation match where if Sami Zayn wins, he gets the Money in the Bank
briefcase. Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think anyone could win. I think Cesaro and Sami Zayn kind of have the underdog aspect to them. So there's a chance that they can come out on top on that one. And then the main event match, obviously Reigns and Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I'm also torn on this one. I have a feeling that Reigns is gonna win this one, only because the way that they're building up Seth Rollins in I'm coming back for the title, and they had this video clip of him right after surgery where he's kind of loopy, and he says, "I'm coming back for my title. I don't look like a champion right now, but I'm coming back for it." Yeah. And I feel that Reigns is going to be the roadblock. Seth Rollins, he'll probably still keep going after the World Heavyweight Championship, and maybe they'll continue the feud. But I just don't think that Reigns drops it to him now, especially because they're pushing to get Reigns over and establish him as a legitimate champion. That I feel that if you drop it to Rollins, he was just holding the title for Rollins that whole time.
Oh yeah.
So
no, to me, I'm calling it right now. You can put in the comments and everything like that. I'm calling it right now. Double turn. Reigns going heel. Rollins is going to get turned. The vignettes are showing him going through the surgery. I know he came out and said, "I didn't need you people" in his Raw return. Mm-hmm. I get it and everything. But I have a feeling we're going to see a double turn. We're going to finally see Reigns go heel. And then we're going to see Rollins go babyface. Yeah. And this is going to be the turn that we want to see finally happen. And that way Reigns can hold the belt. And Rollins now is going to be the one pursuing. And like I think,
as the babyface.
And like I was saying before with the Money in the Bank, I think Dean Ambrose is going to have the briefcase, and you're going to have this whole Shield thing going on. And that's how this thing is going to go about till SummerSlam.
Yeah, I could see that, and that would be smart booking, I think, because Reign, he needs to go heel, and the way that they're going back to the AJ Styles and John Cena thing, they're being completely honest with what a lot of the fans think. You know, John Cena can't wrestle, and you know, he's an embarrassment. He squashes people. They could do that with Roman Reigns. You know, I've heard multiple people saying, "Hey, why don't you just tell him to talk like it is?" Okay, you guys think I can't talk? Fine. I don't care. I still have the belt. So what does it matter?
It's the old Rocky, die.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn it around on him now.
Yeah.
Finally become a heel. I don't understand the stubborn nature to keep him babyface.
Yeah, and I like him using the guy as long as he uses it in a heel format of like, it doesn't matter what you guys think of me. If you think I can't wrestle, if you think I'm the chosen one, because I'm the guy. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
So screw off.
I'm picked. I'm number one.
Yep, exactly. So I think it'll be interesting.
So that's our predictions for Money in the Bank. We'll see who wins out of that one. We'll see who prevails, and we'll see how right we are, because we know we're going to be right.
Oh, yeah.
100% all the way. Guarantee right now, right here.
Yeah. We'll put edits in if we're not.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll change the state. We're doing it again and again and again, just in case we get them all right. We said all the guys' names that are editing in afterwards. If we're wrong in any way, Shane will save his eyebrows.
Wait, what? I didn't agree to that.
Yes, you did. It's in your contract. Look it up. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Brock Lesnar going to UFC 200. Right now he's facing Mark Hunt, who actually just legitimately, his last match was for the UFC heavyweight title. So he's an older guy. He's been around for a long time. He's a heavy hitter, very heavy hands. He's a heavy hitter. He's knocked out a lot of people. He was actually winning the match he had against Fabrizio Verdum for that title match. To me, he dominated the first round. He controlled Verdum through the whole match. And he came in like an idiot, and he went, I don't know quite what he was ducking, but he ducked, and he went right into a knee on Verdum and got knocked out. So, but to me, he was still controlling most of that match. So I'm not quite sure how Brock is going to actually win this match. He's obviously, the only way he's going to win it is if he takes him down. So as long as he doesn't eat anything on the way in and doesn't get his ass knocked out for it, that's the only way he's going to win. He's definitely not going to be able to stand with Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt will knock him out. So people have been wondering, like, what does WWE gain from this?
Right.
Obviously, UFC is going to get great pay-per-view buys for their UFC 200 show. I've read a couple things, and they're talking about this nice little exchange that they might get between Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, which that's been teased for a while, ever since the WrestleMania we went to, 31, where, you know, she came out and was with The Rock, and people were thinking, oh, Triple H and Stephanie against Ronda Rousey and The Rock at WrestleMania 32. Well, that didn't really happen. It just kind of faded out.
Which makes me wonder if this deal was supposed to happen a long time ago.
Yeah, that could be. It's really, really interesting. And I wasn't sure. I mean, I guess you want to get a whole lot of pay-per-view buys, but I was kind of thinking that if Brock Lesnar came back, he would almost have, like, I don't know what they consider it in the UFC, but an easier fight.
Yeah, no, the tomato can. He should have the guy that he can just take down, knock out real easy. It should have been a tomato can fight. And no, they gave him a guy that was a legitimate contender for the UFC heavyweight title. Right. I'm actually quite surprised by that. I guess Brock wants to come out. If he can prove himself, if he can beat Mark Hunt, he's a legitimate badass, and he looks great for his UFC return.
Right.
If he gets knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, and it's also interesting because if he comes back, beats Mark Hunt, and then goes back to the WWE, which I don't think is going to be for SummerSlam. That's such a quick turnaround. But
depends how hard he gets knocked out.
Yeah. Okay, I think the predictions are in. But if he comes back, that he was a beast to begin with, and you know, almost looked like a man amongst boys. Yeah, but now he comes back even stronger. So, and maybe they have a full partnership with UFC or some sort of partnership where, I don't know, they use some booking in the WWEs so that they're, you know, that's not necessarily pay-per-view buys, but maybe their subscriptions go up. I don't know. It's really interesting. A lot of speculation, I guess.
Yeah, the thing with Brock Lesnar is that if he loses to a legitimate title contender in the heavyweight division, it doesn't necessarily make him look that bad.
That's true.
This way, I guess he can kind of win each way on this. If he knocks out Mark Hunt or beats Mark Hunt in general, then he looks great. If he gets knocked out by Mark Hunt, well, that guy just fought for the UFC heavyweight title.
Right.
This guy's a legit contender. So this is probably where Brock can kind of win in both ways. If I was Mark, just watch Alistair Overeem match where Alistair Overeem just kicked him right in the stomach, kicked Brock right in the stomach, right in his diverticulitis, and boom, he went down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
So I predict Mark Hunt right hook right to the gut. That's the drop right there.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe uppercut. He loves the uppercuts.
Yeah. I guess only time will tell. It'll be interesting. A lot of speculation going on between the exchange there, and all I can say is that it's nice to be Brock Lesnar for sure.
Oh yeah,
just kind of dictating whatever.
Paydays.
Yeah.
He's getting a payday from WWE and UFC.
Exactly. WrestleMania and then UFC 200. He gets to dictate, well, these are my dates that I'm going to work. Then I'm going to go back to my farm in Canada or Minnesota or wherever the hell it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just insane.
So I'm just wondering, do you even want to see Ronda Rousey in the WWE?
I think she can add some legitimacy, kind of like the way that Brock Lesnar did. You know, if she could feud with Charlotte Flair. And I don't know if I would really be interested to see her and Stephanie McMahon. It was cool.
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, but
asinine.
Yes, they can if they booked her almost like a modern day China, where even she can go up against some guys, kick the crap out of them.
They would never do that in this era.
That's true. But
PG, they'd never do woman versus man.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I would like to see it. You know, just as a guy who isn't a whole lot into
Ronda
into the UFC. I think it'll be interesting, you know, to see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I'm really don't care actually if she's even in the WWE. I'm surprised if this is part of the deal at all. I'm kind of surprised WWE's that interested in it. I mean, she's still a star, but she just got knocked out.
Yeah.
She doesn't have her title anymore. The protection she's had for so long is gone, and the hype over her is gone. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, yeah, she'll bring in some buys, but I don't see her bringing in much more than if they just put Brock on the show.
Right. Yeah, it would be the one thing that I could see them building to, but this would probably be a WrestleMania, is her and her girls. They call themselves the Four Horsewomen, right? And Charlotte and Sasha, Becky, and Bayley call themselves the Four Horsewomen.
Right.
So there's been rumors about maybe that happening, and I don't know. It would be interesting. But I think if you bring in a Ronda Rousey, and like I said, it adds at least some legitimacy to the women's division of the WWE.
Okay, well that breaks down all the news that's happened lately in the world of wrestling.